So I'm very excited today to be with Sabine Lobnig, and she's going to tell us a little bit why she's come to the ATiA conference here in Orlando, Florida. Sabine, great to meet you, and tell me a little bit more about yourself.
So my name is Sabine Lobnig. I work for the Mobile and Wireless Forum, which is the International Association of the Mobile Equipment Manufacturers. So both the device you have in your hand and a network that is actually connecting the device. And we are here at ATiA the first time ever. The reason why we're here is that we work on the accessibility of the devices. So how can people with disabilities, older citizens, everyone who has a particular access need, how can everyone use the devices? And more we see that consumer electronics, accessible consumer electronics, are also used as platforms for assistive technology to build it on top. And this is kind of how the accessibility moves into the assistive technology direction, and how we working in accessibility for the first time now also have ended up at the ATiA Congress.
Tell me a little bit more about MWF and how does that work with, you said there were 3 different things you were working on over the last 25 years.
Right, so the association, the industry association, the Mobile and Wireless Forum, or MWF in the short form, we are working in 3 specific areas. So the first one, and our raison d'être, is that we work on safety and compliance of the devices. The second area that has now already been going on for 15 years and really is increasing in importance is the accessibility of the devices. So how can everyone, independent of their capabilities, use the devices? And then we have a second area that is very techy and has to deal with the labeling of the devices, the compliance, the standards around it, and the integrity of the devices. We work as an industry body. We are active globally. We are as such a very small association. We only have 12 members, but those members are huge companies. So everyone knows them. It's Apple, Samsung, LG, Huawei, Intel, Ericsson. It's really the manufacturers that you associate with the telecommunications ecosystem. And then if we look more specifically at accessibility, we have one core project, which is the GARI database. And I invite everyone who listens to that to just check it out. It's gari.info, GARI.info. And that is an online database, accessible freely on the internet. You can go there. It's available in 20 languages. And the whole purpose and mission of this project is to help you find an accessible device that works for you. So independent on whether you're just starting out and just want to know what's possible. So let's say you have a vision impairment and you want to have a device that works for you. You can go there and just say, okay, vision impairment, show me everything that is potentially available in terms of features and functionalities, and then show me devices that can do that. Or if you're at the later stage, already very tech savvy, you can say, okay, I need a device that has a screen reader, then that is hearing aid compatible, and that I can use with a hand tremor. Those 3 functions. Show me all the devices in the market today that have those 3 functions. And you can do that as well. And then the next step, if you're still in the early stages of getting familiar with the technology and you have found the device, you can then say, okay, how do I actually find the features in the device that I need? How do I switch them on? How do I switch them off? And there you go to the resource page and find a whole series of videos, 1 to 2 minutes long, where you can learn about the features.
Amazing. What brings you to ATiA this year?
The reason why we're at ATiA for the first time and this year is that we see that assistive technology that accessible technology and assistive technology, that we cannot really do that categoric separation any longer. They are merging, and in any case, the line between the 2 are blurring more and more. So we don't really have a distinction of saying this is only accessible and this is only assistive, but very often we have accessible device where the assistive technology is built upon. So they work together, they have to work together. And what we see is that the accessibility crowd, people working in that area, and the AT crowd, for the moment, they're still in two separate silos. So it's not much interaction going on. And to sort of break that open and make a connection between the two, that's one of the reasons we're here. So we used the COVID period, the pandemic period, and the little bit additional time that we had through that period when we were stuck at home, to do a research project and to look into whether accessible consumer electronics can be considered assistive technology, and if then we can make the case to the funding bodies and funding authorities that this technology should actually be funded. And it's also not really an initiative that came out of our own interest, or that was really brought up by us as an industry body. But in the exchange with the disability community, we very often heard this frustration expressed that people would be served, really well served, with an accessible device that gives them the one function they're looking for, plus this whole range of other functionality that comes with an accessible device. But they will not get the funding for, I don't know, a $500 or $800 or euro device, while they would get the funding for an expensive, very specialized software.
Why do you think AT is important?
AT, and in general access to technology, is for some helpful, but more and more really the condition that we have to participate in modern life, in employment, in social life, in public life. There's so many things that have moved on online or digital, or in any case where you really need the technology, no matter if you have a disability or not, but you need the technology to be able to participate. And then if you have a particular access need, the usual technology, the mainstream technology might or might not work for you. But AT is just the way in that you can participate where otherwise you would not be able to. So that's why it's, for us, we really consider it the basic right for everyone to participate in employment, in education, in social life, in modern life.
What excites you about the future of assistive technology?
There are endless possibilities. And then also the creative part. So coming from the manufacturer side, right? So there's already a lot of great features that the engineers come up, and then you put that on the market, and then you come back and then you see what the users are doing with it. And that's actually the other part of the creativity and also the fun part. Because users will always find a way to use the technology in a way that the manufacturer never came up with.
How does the MWF spread the word about assistive technology, accessibility? Because certainly from my point of view, it's about trying to make people aware of this incredible technology. Is there anything happening centrally to try and raise everyone's knowledge of?
Right. So I agree, it's crucial to get the word out about what exists already and what is possible. And one way we do that is that we come to events like the ATiA conference, right? And in particular, we try also to not always go to the same events, because there, you have your key points in accessibility and in AT, and then you have every year the same crowd going there. We go there, of course, as well, but then what is particularly precious is, for example, coming the first time to ATiA and talking to, I know maybe 10 people here, and all the rest is new out of the 2,000 people, or however many are around here. So potentially 1,900 people that I don't know yet and that I really can talk to about, and who are interested, who ask also new questions when we give them the information, or when we say this is what we're doing and this is the database and please use it, who ask new questions to us. We say, okay, good, we haven't ever thought about that, or this is a different way we need to present the information. So going to events is one thing, then active social media communication. Active in the sense we really engage with the stakeholders and look for conversation rather than just broadcasting. Organizing educational webinars. For example, in March we will have an educational webinar with the European Disability Forum, who is the umbrella organization for people with disabilities in Europe. where we rally also the national associations, where we interpret the event into the national languages. We will have a focus on Poland, for example, this time, and where we bring together the manufacturers who actually work on the accessibility and bring the disability community who then says, well, I have the device, I tried that feature, this and this, I would like you to give me more information on, or this is a feature that I haven't found yet, or that is not yet in the device, where we have the direct exchange between disability community, the users, and the manufacturers who are doing the accessibility.
What are your thoughts on assistive technology accommodations in the workplace?
Oh, the accommodation in the workplace. Yeah, that's a very important point, because that can be the difference between having a job and not having a job for many people. And well, on one hand, the first thought is, of course, it's important that everyone should do it and everyone should have access to it. What we see in practice is that there's a crucial lack of information on both sides, both on the side of the person with a disability in terms of what is possible, what is also affordable, and what kind of funding streams are available. In many different countries, you have different forms of funding, but in particular in Europe and North America, you almost always have some sort of funding for accommodation in the workplace. And then from the employer's point of view, we also see the lack of awareness as the biggest hindrance, because they think, first of all, it's impossible. When they don't think it's impossible, it's too expensive, and then it's too complicated. But actually that you have that there are a lot of technical solutions, that it doesn't have to be expensive, and that it's not so complicated, is something that we just need to make them aware of. And then I think it would be much easier for people with disabilities to be integrated into the workplace.
Yeah. Which industries or sectors have you seen the most progress in providing access to AT?
Access to AT, again, is a bit difficult for me, as I'm not so much in the AT sector. But in terms of accessibility, and I have to admit bias through my work, I would say the telecommunication sector. Because with the accessibility of the devices, also the multitude of devices that we have in the market, and then just all the possibilities that you have through the connectivity, much more even with 5G, because again, 5G has opened up so many more applications that you can do, like sign language, video communication with 5G when you have such a low latency time is such a improvement and such a disruptive improvement that you don't forcibly realize, because you think, well, okay, we had video communication in 4G, but that 5G just makes a complete difference for the human brain because you have low latency. So I could geek out on that a lot more, but I will keep it short and just say, biased as I am, I would say the telecommunication sector.
I think that's quite an interesting last point you made, actually. Can you give us a couple of examples of accessibility features that we might have on our telephones, which perhaps
plenty.
We don't even know about?
Okay, so in terms of, it's a brilliant question. Accessibility features on your phone that you might not know about. I myself, although I'm working in that field, was at the App Smackdown today and learned 2 new features that I didn't know were on my phone. One was on iOS, the back tap. So if you go into your accessibility settings, you can go, I think it's at the bottom of the accessibility menu, it's called back tap. And there you have the feature, you can make it so that if you tap at the back of your phone 3 times, it opens a specific function on your phone. So you don't have to go into the phone itself and find the function. You just tap 3 times at the back and either the camera opens or the phone book opens or whatever you need to open. So that was a really cool feature that I did not know about, that I learned about today. Other things, of course, very helpful that I use a lot is the captioning, automatic captioning, either via functions in the phone or via downloaded apps. Then the read aloud, if you mark some text up, that it just reads then whatever is marked on the screen. Speech to text, dictation, very handy if you're driving and you don't want to look at the phone and mess up anything on the street. And I will stop myself there because we have 130 features on the Gari database. I could run through all of them right now.
Sabine, is there anything else you want to add about anything, the conference, or anything else we haven't covered that you want to say?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to do the interview. It's a lot of fun. And second of all, I would say, consider coming to the conference because it's a universe to discover. I'm the first time here and I'm just running around like in a new country, new people and new perspectives and new areas of work that I didn't even realize were there. That's one thing. And the other thing, of course, is Gari is a free resource. Please go there, please use it and just have fun with it. The devices we have are fantastic and the usual consumer or user like me, like you probably, it's like our brains, we're using 5 to 10% of the potential. So there is so much more and it's no extra cost. We are carrying around the devices already, whether it's the wearable, the tablet, the phone, there's endless possibilities. So go and use it.
Thank you so much, Sabine.
Thank you.